So guys, this is the day I got my traveling bag. Wait. Let me see. Where is it at? Here. I found my traveling bag this day. May 26th, 2021. And I found that bag for a reason, because the whole reason was coming to Tennessee. The whole reason was traveling with my friend. God put it in my life to find that bag. And what else did I? Oh, I guess that's it. Yeah. It's crazy that they're telling that my friend that's helping me, somebody's telling her that that guy in the wheelchair saying that I brought guys into the storage room, which is definitely untrue. I will never do nothing like that. I never intentionally planned to cause harm to the storage room. I just wanted to use it because he was letting me use it. And that was all my intentions. And I always respected his property. I never touched none of his stuff. I always locked it up when I was finished. And every time I go to the storage room, I would just go there to probably change my pants, change my clothes, or take something out of there and take it to the hotel, or get a pair of socks because I was cold outside. And sometimes I put my food in there. I would just go there and get my food that the people bought me, like packs of like granola bars. So I would go there and get one, like when I wanted to like eat something when I was outside. That's the only thing I had in my storage room. Or the reason why I went there is to go and leave. That was it. I didn't never bring anybody to that storage room. No guys. All that stuff is just made up lies to make me look bad, because they're evil people. They're just trying to make somebody's reputation look bad, because deep inside they know that I'm not that type of person. They know by my posts, if they see my Facebook, my Instagram posts. He knows by talking to me in person that I'm not that type of person, that I was just a really struggling person, coming here to Tennessee, homeless. And then they're saying all these lies about me, being that I'm going through like so much on the streets, homeless, like the situation I'm going through already. You're saying all this stuff on top of that. That's not true. Like, why would somebody do something like that? Like, it's so evil. I'm on the streets trying to make it, trying to find a living, trying to find housing, trying to find a way, a normal life coming here. And then I got people saying bad stuff about me that I thought that was supposed to be helping me, but they turn out to be snakes, backstabbers, evil, two-faced. It's just sad. This is my church I went to when I was in Erie. I was a member there and everything. I had pretty a good life in Erie, Pennsylvania. It's just living in that area. Um, the people that was moving in there was like running the apartment complex because they was like stomping, doing all types of stuff, and the landlord wasn't doing anything about it. And then he terminated me. Like, he terminated me and let the people, like, I think upstairs, like, get away with stuff and didn't say nothing to them about them, like, constantly stomping real loud like that. And I have that all recorded. And when I got terminated, I wanted to come here to Tennessee because I thought I would have a relationship, a normal relationship, like, with my niece aunt relationship. That's why the reason why I came to Tennessee is because of that, of her. But you see, it didn't work out. Like, so what is that? Ouch. So long ago. Oh my goodness. And the crazy thing about it, they got purple curtains up. I found a purple bag. The essential symbolic meaning of purple in the Bible is the suffering, death, and resurrection of our Messiah, Jesus Christ. But regardless of the situation, you can see that I'm protected by God, and God has control of every part of my life, of situation, good and bad. And stuff happens for a reason, and He only knows the reason why. And all I can say is that I'm in good hands if I'm trusting in Him, regardless, because I know that He can make a way for me. And He did make a way for me by sending that lady to help me and sending that traveling day due to my situation of me traveling with my friend. And He knew I was going to come here. He knows, like, everything about the person, what's going to happen in their life, and what's going to take place. And we think we know, like, stuff when we don't really know what's going to happen the next day. That's why it says in the Bible, don't worry about the next day, just worry about putting God first and stuff like that, and let Him guide your steps. Even though I was having struggles, like, sometimes focusing, having faith, being in my situation, like sitting outside, freezing. It was like cold outside, but I'm kind of like used to that weather because I came up and was brought up in a cold, like, environment. I grew up in Pennsylvania all my life, and it snows a lot in Pennsylvania, especially in Erie, Pennsylvania. It snows like up to your knees, so I was used to that. And the weather here, and the weather here in the wintertime is nothing compared to there. And it's funny how there's people talking about me, and I can only think of is Tim, Melissa, or the cops, or Rory, the guy. I know he's like no good now. He started off like real nice, buying me stuff, and then he started to change like when he started to change when he was like drinking and stuff, and had nerve to say like after he bought me all that stuff from Walmart, he had nerve to say like, what are you gonna give me in return? I'm like, are you serious? Like, you're the one was acting all nice to me, acting like you wanted to help me due to my situation of me not having any clothes, and then you turn around and say I have to give you something in return after you bought me all that stuff. No, it's your fault. You put yourself in that situation and you bought all that stuff for me, saying that you're helping me. Now I'm gonna walk out of your house and leave because you're being disrespectful and inappropriate. $400 worth of clothes he bought. And my friend was like, well, like, if it's a guy, they're going to want something because obviously it's a man. Well, I had guys help me before and he wasn't like that, trying to get something sexual out of me just for them helping me. There's men out there that will help you like a guy, that'll help you and not try to take advantage of a woman. And the thing is, they have cameras around that storage room. If they have cameras, why didn't they or the cop be like, sir, can we have the video of her sleeping in a storage room as you're talking about? And they'd be like, okay, I'll show you the video. Does that make any sense to you guys? Like, if I was doing all that stuff they was talking about in the storage room, why don't they have the evidence of it on their video camera? They don't, because they're lying. And I used to do like live videos of me going to the storage room and leaving, so people know that's not true. What dinner is spreading slander about me. Slander. That's what it's called, slander. Slander. The action or crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. Which word has the opposite meaning of slander? Acclamation. ACCLAMATAION. Which word is a synonym for slander? Defame, rebel, life. Maybe it's the defame or rebel. Yes, defame. Pick up the word that is similar to defamation. Defamation. He sued a newspaper for defamation. Libel. Yeah, that's right. I got 88%. Oral defamation in which somebody tells one or more person an untruth about another, which untruth will harm that reputation of the person. Defame. Slander is a civil wrong. Let's see.
Oral. Something spoken in contradistinction to something written, as oral evidence, which is evidence delivered verbally by a witness.
That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one.
Slander also found in dictionary, thesaurus.
Oh my god. I can't get it, guys. Computer's not working. I do not know what happened. So let's see. Had me sitting there and what? To read out loud. Whoops.
If we can control our speech, we can control all areas of our lives. Titus 3 verses 1 and 2 Christians are told to speak evil of no one. 1 Peter 2 verse 1 Lay aside all evil speaking. Most people are aware that the Bible gives guidelines about speech, and specifically about how we should speak about others. The Bible deals with slander, backbiting, etc. Most are also aware that this is a common problem. People love to talk about other people, especially if they can say something bad, at work, over the backyard fence, and especially over the telephone, etc. Many newspaper columns, magazines, and TV and radio talk shows are devoted to the latest gossip about movie stars, politicians, and other public figures. People delight in digging up dirt. If we were honest, most of us would admit we ourselves at times have a problem with speech. How many can honestly say they have never said something about someone else and then later realized they should not have said it? If we understood the Bible better, we might regret even more of our speech. The purpose of this study is to consider the Bible teaching about slander and speaking evil about others. What constitutes sinful slander? Exactly what constitutes improper speech about others? Understanding this is the most difficult part of the subject for many. Some definitions. The following definitions are from the American Heritage Dictionary. Gossip, rumor, or talk of a personal, sensational, or intimate nature. This word is nowhere used in the KJV. It is used in the NKJV in 1 Timothy 5 verse 13. Rumor, unverified information of uncertain origin usually spread by word of mouth, hearsay. Slander, the utterance of defamatory statements injurious to the reputation or well-being of a person. A malicious statement or report. Backbite, to speak spitefully or slanderously about a person. Talebearer, a person who spreads malicious stories or gossip. Rail, to condemn or attack in bitter, harsh, or abusive language. Revile, to denounce with abusive language. Some people believe that all talking about people who are not present is gossip, and therefore wrong. Others think saying bad things about people not present is gossip. Or some think talking about things you don't know to be true about others is gossip and wrong. While there are many ways to be guilty of speaking improperly about other people, not everything that some would call gossip is wrong. We must let the Bible define what is wrong. B. Some things that are not necessarily sinful. Simply talking about someone who is not present is not necessarily sinful. Many inspired men did this. Who will claim they were wrong? Matthew 28 verses 7 and 8, an angel told the women to tell the apostles about Jesus' resurrection. They were to speak to the apostles about someone who was not present. Matthew 11 verses 7 to 19, Jesus told people how great John the Baptist was. 17:10 ff. Acts 11 verses 1 to 18, Peter told Christians in Jerusalem about the conversion of Cornelius. In all these cases, someone spoke about people who were not present, but did they sin? We often do similar things, and we know it is not wrong. Asterisk, we may tell good news about someone. They had a baby, got a job promotion, bought a new car. Asterisk, we may tell an interesting or humorous story about people not present, but the person involved may not object at all if he knew we told it. Asterisk, we sometimes make announcements in our assemblies and even pray to God about people who are not present, someone who is out of town, sick, etc. These are people who are not present. Is it wrong to make announcements about them and pray about them? Such speech is not wrong, because the person about whom we are speaking is not in any way harmed or injured. Cf. Acts 9 verse 39, Galatians 1:18 to 2:10, Luke 1 verses 13 to 17, cf. 1 Timothy 3, Titus 1 verses 5 to 9. Even telling unfavorable or uncomplimentary things about people not present is not necessarily sinful. Again, inspired men often did this. Were they wrong? Matthew 15 verses 12 to 14, after Jesus had finished rebuking the Pharisees, his disciples told him that he had offended them. Though the Pharisees obviously were no longer present, Jesus proceeded to warn his disciples about the errors of the Pharisees. 16:5-12. Matthew 20 verses 17 to 19, Jesus took his disciples aside and told them that the chief priests and scribes would kill him. Obviously these men were not present. Galatians 2 verses 11 to 14, Paul told Christians in Galatia about a sin Peter had committed in Antioch. In fact, Bible writers often record events in which various people committed sins, even naming names and groups involved. We read about these sins even today, even though the people who committed the sins are obviously not present. Did these inspired men sin? Obviously not. 1 Timothy 1 verses 19 and 20, 2 Timothy 1 verse 15, 2 verses 16 to 18, 3 verse 8, 4 verses 10 and 14, Acts 4 verse 27, Matthew 6 verse 7, etc. There are situations in which the Bible commands us to tell people about bad things other people have done. Matthew 18 verse 17, if a Christian sins and will not repent, we are commanded to tell the church. So under certain circumstances we must tell other people about a person's sin. Just as Jesus and his apostles and prophets often spoke about the sins of people, so we are required to oppose error and false teaching. In doing so, we may mention sins or false teaching people have committed, in order to warn other people to avoid those errors. This may not be wrong, and in some cases may be required. Sometimes when people hear that this has happened, they claim wrong was done. They say we gossiped about those people. It is possible, of course, to speak wrongfully in such cases, but the Bible examples show it is not necessarily sinful, and in many cases God requires us to do it. So just because we have spoken about someone who is not present, even saying bad things about them, does not necessarily mean we have sinned. So what is sinful slander? See some characteristics of sinful slander. It is possible to slander someone when they are not present or even when they are present. Slander involves saying unfavorable things about a person in the following ways. 1. Some people accuse others of doing wrong when they do not know it to be true. It is not necessarily wrong to sincerely ask someone about what they did, but it is slander to accuse someone without substantial evidence they are guilty. Exodus 20 verse 16, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. 2 Timothy 3 verse 3, Paul lists a number of sins that characterize perilous times. The list of sins includes slanderers, NKJV, translated false accusers in the KJV.
Exactly
Titus
when
2
I'm
verse
going
3,
through.
aged women should be taught not to be slanderers. Again,
When I'm going
translated
through
false accusers in the KJV.
talking about I brought a man to the
The
store
Greek
room.
definitions of the words slander, backbiting, evil speaking, etc., show these include spreading false reports. Cf. Psalm 31 verse 18, 15 verse 3, 109
Yeah,
verses
some
2 and
crazy,
3, Romans 1 verse 30,
crazy
2
stuff they be
Corinthians
saying.
12 verse 20. Examples: Matthew 12 verses 22 to 25, 11 verses 18 and 19, 5 verse 11, Acts 25 verses 1 and 2, 24:2-9-13, 2 Samuel 10 verses 1 to 3, Luke 23 verses 2 to 5. What if we circulate a false report that someone else started? Can we blame them and remain free from guilt if it is false? People often circulate rumors saying, I don't know this is true, but I heard. Exodus 23 verse 1, you shall not circulate a false report. Do not put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. No matter who originates the accusation, we should not repeat and spread it unless we have substantial evidence it is true. The fact that someone simply made an accusation is not enough. Anybody can make accusations. Lots of innocent people, in the Bible and since, have been falsely accused. We need to know what the evidence is. What if I suspect a thing, but cannot really prove it? 1 Timothy 5 verse 19, do not receive an accusation against an elder except from 2 or 3 witnesses. We must have evidence before we make accusations. If we do not have proof, maybe we need to ask questions and seek witnesses. But don't affirm guilt till the proof is in. 1 Timothy 6 verse 4, sins listed include reviling, speaking evil, and evil suspicions, NKJV, evil surmising, KJV. This is jumping to conclusions without adequate proof about what a person did or why he did it. Often in a time of conflict, people circulate all kinds of rumors and motives for which they have no evidence. I think he did it because. Proverbs 24 verse 28, do not be a witness against your neighbor without cause. It is not always wrong to speak against someone, but there must be adequate cause first. Matthew 18 verse 16, by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. The testimony of personal witnesses constitutes evidence to be evaluated. Obviously, there are limits on our knowledge or what others have done. When it comes to Scripture, we have an infallible revelation. But when it comes to knowing what other people have said or done, sometimes even reliable sources may be sincerely mistaken. But a sincere mistake is significantly different from negligence, indifference, jumping to conclusions, or circulating unsubstantiated rumors. Before we definitely accuse others, we must put forth a reasonable effort to get the facts, not just suspicions. If we don't have the facts, investigate first. Ask questions, gather testimony. But don't make charges till we have reasonable evidence. 2. Some make derogatory statements from malicious motives. We must sincerely seek to be sure our accusations are true. But even when we have the truth, that does not mean we are right in spreading the information. Some people think they can say anything about anyone as long as they feel sure it is true. But there is also the question of motive. There must be good reasons for telling bad things about others. Sometimes people spread stories because they want to hurt people's reputation. 1 Peter 2 verse 1, evil speaking is associated with malice. Psalm 41 verses 5 to 7, David's enemies spoke against him seeking to hurt him. Malice or improper motives can take various forms, such as Cf. Ephesians 4 verse 31, Romans 1 verses 29 and 30, Colossians 3 verse 8, 2 Corinthians 12 verse 20, Psalm 31 verse 13, 15:3. Asterisk jealousy. 1 Peter 2 verse 1 associates evil speaking with envy. We may do wrong by speaking evil of others because we envy their abilities or blessings or the honor or favor they have received. We may seek to exalt ourselves above them by making them look bad. Asterisk vengeance, anger, hatred, or grudges. Jeremiah 20 verse 10, Jeremiah's enemies denounced and defamed him to take revenge. 1 Peter 3 verse 9, 2:23, we should not return evil for evil or reviling for reviling. Jesus set the example in this. When he was reviled, he did not in turn revile others. Vengeance is not just physical actions we take against others. One of the most common ways to take vengeance is by saying things to hurt others. Others harm us, or we imagine so we say defamatory things to get even. Someone accuses us of something, so we respond, well, what about the time when you? Sin must be rebuked. But when we do so, we must be sure that we are motivated by concern for the sinner and others who may be involved, not by a desire for vengeance. 1 Corinthians 4 verses 12 and 13, Ephesians 4 verse 31. Asterisk.
Yeah, I don't want to care about what people are saying about me or give into that because life goes on and I'm just trying to live my life, a normal life. Anyway, guys, I have to go. Talk to you later.